Ever since I was a kid, I'd always surrounded myself with feminine things, you know. I used to, in elementary school, our lunch table, boys sat on this side, girls sat on this side. And I would sit on the very end of the table with all the girls. So you kind of knew how I was growing up. I was getting constantly bullied by the other dudes, so I would still go sit with the girls. In that, I, I don't know. I've just been more feminine throughout my life. I'm not like struggling with my identity or anything. I'm just a little more of a feminine dude than most dudes, you know. When this whole like performative activism trend started popping up and you see a bunch of dudes like listening to Claro or drinking matcha, you know what I'm saying? I kind of felt like I had to just stop kind of doing. I never drank matcha, but I would always like I would listen to Claro. I would wear clothes a certain way, and I would act just a little more feminine sometimes. And I felt like I had to stop kind of just being myself because of that trend. I didn't want people to think I'm a trend hopper. I'm like, no, this is just what I like. This is just who I am. You know, I noticed more so in middle school when I realized that a lot of my friends who like weren't my immediate like my best friends, they were girls. And not in the sense of like, oh, I got hoes on me. They were just like my friends and shit, you know? That's the point you kind of realize, like, oh, wait a minute. Like, the people I surround myself with, they are a reflection of me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It is that kind of deal where it's a little bit of a reflection of who I am. And into high school, I kind of just stopped having friends in general. But that at that point, it started evening out to about 50-50 split of men and women are my friends. But also within my actions and my hobbies and my characteristics. In my characteristics, I noticed that I was just more open to be feminine than other guys. You know, I used to have acrylic nails. I want to go get a new set when I move out because I like having nails and it also helps me stop biting my fingernails. Um, so that's I mean it's pretty cool. I never knew any other dude who would do that. I knew like two guys who would paint their nails, but never get like a set of nails on. You know what I'm saying? I I also like growing up, I also only had my mother and my siblings, and at the time they were both girls, so I didn't really have a brother, and my father was working out of state, so I was just surrounded by women. So inherently, I just picked up more and more traits that women possess. You know, I noticed that because I would be at work and I would just say something or act a certain way, and I'm like, wait, dude, I'm just acting like I'm talking like a girl right now. And when you act like a girl as a guy, everyone just thinks you're gay. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, right? You ever see a guy do something feminine, you're like, oh, that guy's gay. You know, everyone just thinks I'm gay because of the way I act. And I mean, like, fair point. You know, I can't really blame you, but it's like this is just who I am. This is just how I act given my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? And I've been I'm like accepting of who I am. You know, I kind of just accept the fact that I'm just a more feminine dude than a lot of other dudes. You know, I've accepted that fact about myself. I accepted that fact about myself very early on as well. Cause I just noticed I'm like, okay, well, this is just like the kind of environment I like. Not only like this is the environment I kind of fester like kind of I get this kind of community going, but I also thrive in it, you know? It's very easy for me to speak with women than it is to do with men, you know? It's very easy in some aspects compared to others. And a lot of those aspects tend to be more baseline social interactions that are just easier to do. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, cool. I'm just I'm just that kind of guy. It really doesn't take that much of time to literally be surrounded by women all your life and go, yeah, this is pretty chill. It's pretty cool. But I always would feel, I don't know if it was envy or just disgust from a lot of other guys being like, oh, look at that guy. He's fucking weird. He's weird and gay. It's like, no, I'm not. Maybe a little weird, but this just makes sense for me, you know? This is just who I am. I didn't really have a topic about today. I don't have I don't have a point to make, except I do. I'll figure it out in like the next minute or so. But I had always just felt more comfortable around women, and I felt I could be more expressive of my own like true self around women. And that's kind of like kind of weird in a sense, but it also gave me grace. It gave me a lot of grace. And what's great about my job right now is my job is just a bunch. It's mainly a bunch of dudes, so I get to just like reclaim that lust. Really, just one sneeze? Okay. Ugh. Oh, fuck my heart up. Holy shit. I get my job is just a bunch of dudes, so I can just kind of recoup that lost time where I didn't really just be around a bunch of guys. Obviously, I had moments like that, like in band where I did percussion, just a bunch of dudes who drummed. You know what I mean? But even in that sense, I was still like an oddball left out, where everyone had their own little cliques, their own little groups, and I was just that weird guy who, funnily enough, was friends with like the two or three girls that were in percussion at the time. Kind of just like what I am and who I am, but I mean, shit, gave me a lot of benefits, you know. I could talk to just women more easily, you know what I'm saying? You spend so much time around them, you kind of desensitize yourself to the fact that it's kind of embarrassing or just intimidating to try and and approach a woman. I can kind of just do that easily now, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. But I mean, like I've accepted myself as someone who's someone who's just more feminine, you know. And I've come to terms with that, and I realize it's not like it's something I need to fix. It's just something about me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will view aspects of themselves and say, "Oh, okay, how do we fix that? How do we make that more socially acceptable?" And I'm just like, "Well, all right, cool. I'm just a more feminine guy. The way I talk, the inflections in my tone, the behavioral patterns I possess, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what the average guy would do. And that's okay. What I'm trying to say is that it's okay to be a feminine dude, and you shouldn't let people be weird to you about it. Just be who you are. LOL. Thank you.